Man stellt die linke Arme ein, die linke Arme aus. Ein, aus, man schwettet alles um. Guten Morgen, alles zusammen. Wir müssen unser Deutsch mit Herr Jenkins zu verbessern. Los geht's! Guten Tag, alle zusammen. Willkommen. So I'm trying to do some recordings of the lessons as well as the video, mainly because technology for different people, different times is tricky, and I'm just trying to make sure things are as accessible as possible. This video is designed for the Year 7 German class I'm currently teaching. Obviously, in lockdown, if this is useful to you in a different way, then I hope you can make use of it. For those I'm teaching, you'll have been emailed this PowerPoint and there'll be more information on it. I've taken off the kind of first and last slides because they contain my email and I don't really want to splash my email on a video on YouTube for obvious reasons. So this lesson 2, carries on from where you started earlier in the week about talking about Freizeit und hobbies, free time and hobbies, and what you like and don't like to play. So we have this verb, ich spiele, I play, and if you want to say I like playing, ich spiele gern, and if you want to make that negative, I don't like playing, ich spiele nicht gern, nicht meaning kind of not, not, kind of make something negative when you put it with a verb. So let me just read through the vocab just for your records and your learning. German is about my 5th language, as always, so I apologise. I've worked my pronunciation, but as always, I'm sure there are better people out there. Spielst du gern Basketball, Federball, Fußball, Rugby, Tennis, Volleyball, Flöte, Geige, Gitarre, Klavier, Schlagzeug, am Computer, in einer Band, Karten, Schach. Sehr gut. So, as your first activity, which is basically a recap of what you got to the end of by the last lesson, you've got 4 pictures there with either a heart or a heart with a cross through to show like or dislike, and then a picture of a sport or an instrument, and you can make a simple German sentence. So, for example, number 1, heart for a like, football for Fußball, so it'd be ich spiele gern Fußball. If you're doing this lesson along with the video, now is a good time to pause. Apart from I shouldn't pause because I should keep going. And what would happen is you'd be left with 4 sentences like that. Pay close attention, by the way, guys, that when you're making it negative, ich spiele nicht gern. The nicht goes there in between spiele and gern. Right. Nitty gritty. The verb to play, spielen. We didn't do a lot on kind of verbs and kind of the full form of the verb, like all the different people before Christmas, but I think now the time is right for us to really kind of unpack that and be a bit more advanced. You've met various different verbs when doing German so far, so think about the verb haben, to have, ich habe, I have. Think about the verb sein, to be, ich bin, you've seen that before. So here we have the verb spielen, to play. Now spielen is what's called the infinitive, what you'd find in the dictionary, because it's just to play. It's not saying who's doing the playing, it's just the verb to play. Ooh. I seem to have some timers on this which aren't quite how I want them to be set up. Maybe I'll fix that next time. So let's look through this. Ich spiele, I play. Du spielst, you play, singular, so just one person. Er, sie, es spielt, he, she, or it plays. Wir spielen, we play. Ihr spielt, you play, so that's like plural, you, like all of you play, or you two play, as in the two of you play. and Sie spielen, they play, and can also be you play, as in a formal you if you were talking to someone older than you who you didn't know. Now notice what's highlighted in black there. Oops. Those are the verb endings that change depending on who's talking. Think about it. You've seen this before, like ich habe, I have, and then it's du hast, you have. So the endings change depending on who is talking, and this seems like a slightly strange concept at first, I know, but think about it. If we look at the English here, I play, you play, but he, she, or it plays, and we put an S on the end of play to make it plays. That's the same idea that we have in German, but obviously in German the verb endings are changing more than they would in English. Cool. So now is a good time to pause, and what I'd like you to do is see if you can do the verb off the top of your head like this. Ich spiele, du spielst, sie, es spielt, wir spielen, ihr spielt, sie spielen, sie spielen, like that. And that ability to be able to start memorizing verbs and kind of recite them off by heart is really key, because it starts putting those kind of big foundation blocks in place for your German learning. Los geht's. Okay, time for some reading. Let me read this text to you. Notice as well that it's about someone called Ulrike. You can see that on the first line, and that she lives. Get my annotating tool out. There we go, Ulrike. And ich wohne, I live, we saw that before Christmas, in München. Sorry, it's quite hard to talk and draw. Multitasking, hard at the best of times. München is the German for Munich. Think about it. So if you had, we all know Bayern Munich. I don't know, biggest football team in Germany. I feel like I might get into trouble with various people for saying that. To us, I prefer Dortmund, or to be honest, Fortuna Düsseldorf, because they're like the German partner club of my team, Ipswich Town. Anyway, football aside, München is the German word for Munich. So Bayern Munich in German would be Bayern München. Let me read this text and then I'll talk you through the activity. Ich heiße Ulrike. Ich wohne in München. Ich spiele gern Volleyball. Ich spiele auch Basketball. Ich bin sehr sportlich. Ich habe einen Bruder. Er heißt Akim. Er spielt nicht gern Volleyball, aber er spielt gern Fußball, Gitarre und Schlagzeug. Er ist in einer Band und sehr musikalisch. Ich habe auch eine Schwester. Sie heißt Diane. Sie spielt gern am Computer. Sie ist ziemlich faul. Und meine Eltern, sie spielen oft Tennis. Und du? Spielst du Volleyball oder ein Instrument? Okay, sehr gut. So, having listened and had that text read to you, what you have to do is, where you see the names, Ulrika, Achim, Diane, and parents, write the correct numbers next to them on what they've said. So let's look at the first one, Ulrika. She says that she plays volleyball, right there, doesn't she? So that would be picture number 3, so you'd write a 3 next to Ulrika, and then she says, ich spiele auch Basketball. So that'd be number 6. That word auch, A-U-C-H, there means also, a very useful word. Also, something I thought interesting here, notice when we talked about he plays in the previous slide, spielt, heißt, ist. Look at all of those endings for he or she that end in T. Patterns like that are useful to pick up on. The other word that we might want to quickly revise, und meine Eltern. Eltern is the word for parents. If you're doing this live, good time now to pause, and we'll look at the Antworten, the answers, on the next slide. Cool. Take the edit tool off. There we go. And there are the answers. Final thing. Oh dear, that still exists. Never mind. I wonder why that does that, but never mind. Final activity you'll find on Show My Homework, a quiz based on what you've been doing. Feel free to have a go at that, and that would be really useful because then I get an idea of how we've got on this week. But all that's left for me to do is wish you a happy weekend, schönes Wochenende und auf Wiedersehen.